All right. Well, we'll get back to that. Sometimes you have to move some things around to get that number, but we're excited about everyone being here, and I see that we have a few people logging on, a few media folks logging on. To all of our media who are here, if we have a couple of minutes before we get started, if you're a media person, feel free to shout out yourself and your station. Not sure if they're okay. 1, 2, 3. I see 3. I see 3, and we'll have more. So,
Dr. Sibley?
yes, sir.
Just mic checking. Check.
Yeah, give us a second. Okay, for you to pop up. There you go. All right. So, yeah, we got another couple of minutes before we get started. So I'm going to go through through all of this once it starts at 10. But the quick run through, I'm going to say hello. And then we're going to Dr. Shuchik. Then we're going to Mr. Terry Roller. Then we're going to the lovely Miss Christine Thompson. And then we're going to Dr. Smith, and then Dr. Mcalmon. And we will open up for questions at the end of that. So.
Good morning, Mr. Rice. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Ed. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Doing fantastic. Thank you.
Matt, you are the best.
It's like that old commercial used to be on TV. I learned it from watching you. I learned it from watching you.
Very clever.
All right, gang. It is right here at 10 o'clock, and I want to be prompt and make sure that we're on time and that we're respectful of everyone else's time. So we're going to go ahead and get started right here at 10 a.m. sharp. Again, if you're in the background, if you could mute your phone so that we don't hear any background noise. Take a quick moment to mute your phone, whether you're a caller in or on video, to mute your phone, and we will get started. Good morning to all of you out there, all of you who I know and all of you who I don't know. My name is Michael Sibley. I'm the Communication Director here at the State Department of Education, and thank you so much for coming out this morning virtually to meet with us to talk about summer learning and summer learning opportunities. This year, as we know, has been a particularly difficult year. We've seen unprecedented disruptions in the delivery of educational services throughout the country, Alabama being no different. And we know that during this summertime, what many people are calling the fifth quarter, likening it to a football game. This is essentially overtime. We're hoping that people will take advantage of this fifth quarter to get as much instruction, grade level instruction, ahead of grade level instruction if possible. We want to make sure that all of our students across the state and parents across the state are familiar with the resources that are available that allows them to take full advantage of all that is out there for their summer learning opportunities. So thank you again for being here. Media who are on board, thank you. We hope that you write about this and make sure that you tell your readers and your constituents about all of the educational opportunities that are available this summer. I am going to quickly turn things over to Dr. Tracy Strichick, who is the Reading Initiative Coordinator for the Alabama State Department of Education. She's going to talk a little bit about the Summer Learning Challenge in Alabama. So uh, if you have a question while anyone is speaking, if you're a media member, feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. Or if you want to jot your question down, we have time at the end of this for a Q&A. So if you want to jot your question down and ask it at the end. But if you, for whatever reason, have a pressing question that you need to ask, feel free to jump on in. This is a relatively informal setting, so feel free to jump on in and ask your questions. With that, with no further ado, I'm going to have Dr. Strichick tell us a little bit about the Summer Learning Challenge in Alabama.
Thank you, Dr. Sibley. The current school year is coming to an end for Alabama students, and we know that many studies show that the months away from school can result in the loss of knowledge. It's important that summer plans that families are now making include enriching, fun activities that ensure students do not fall behind. The Alabama Summer Learning Challenge, which was created in 2012 to encourage all pre-K to 12th grade students and families to continue building great academic skills throughout the summer months while away from the traditional classroom setting. The Alabama State Department of Education is partnering with some of our nation's top education organizations to minimize the summer learning slide. Those national education partners are Metametrics and Stride Incorporated. We also have some Alabama partners such as Alabama Public Television, Alabama Public Libraries, state agencies, and statewide educational organizations. This year's efforts will provide all Alabama pre-K to 12th grade students and parents access to free, fun online books, math challenges, science games and puzzles, and many other learning resources. This year promises to be the best Alabama Summer Learning Challenge yet, and we hope that all Alabama students and families consider participating.
Thank you, Dr. Strichick. Thank you so much. We do appreciate you being here and giving us a little background on that. Next up, we have Alabama Assistant State Superintendent, Mr. Terry Rolla. It's going to give us just a little more information about reading in Alabama and the effort that we're trying to make during this fifth quarter to recoup some of the learning loss that's been experienced over the last year.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Rolla.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is truly an honor to represent Dr. Mackey and the State School Board as we talk about where we are right now. I love, by the way, the fifth quarter example that you give. That's something that we can relate to in Alabama. We love our football. But as we approach a decade of our Summer Learning Challenge, I think it's significant because we are all, really dealing with what it's like to have schools be altered, in some cases, removed from what we know to be our normal way of doing business in our lives. The disruptions that we've had this year certainly have been felt. When you look at the Summer Learning Challenge, it talks about focusing on reducing the summer slide. And you ask people what that means. Now, you guys obviously cover education, so you probably are abreast and have an adept understanding of what that means. But for the reader that does not, or the person that's tuning in and watching this live, there's some research or there's some literature out there that talks about it, and they give the example of it being during the school year. Imagine a faucet being turned on where all of the resources are being poured into the students all the time. Learning is taking place. You're providing access, opportunity, exposure, support. Kids are thriving and doing well. Well, when the school year ends, you turn that faucet off. So all of those resources at that point are being cut off. And what you have with vulnerable populations, and it's important that we use that term now, vulnerable populations, because when you look at the literature, you'll see students of poverty, you'll see students, immigrant students, or you'll see minority students. But what we now know is that that group is much larger as we've done our return to school. and our reopening plans. And so I want to make people comfortable with that term, vulnerable population, because it's made up of a lot of groups that you didn't really think about at the time. But now what COVID has done is exposed all of these weaknesses that we had in the system of the way that we do business, and we know that those students need additional support. So I love the fact that we're talking about what can we do to go out and create experiences and opportunities. And so this challenge will be, uh, something that fits nicely into our recovery plans. We know that at some point during this year, all of our LEAs had some form of remote learning. Now, what that means for me is that you miss time with that face-to-face instruction with a teacher. And man, we know how valuable that really is. All of our LEAs, all of our school districts, had some form of remote learning. When we were looking at collecting data, because in our recovery plan, this is what we said that we needed to do. We said that we needed to understand the impact of learning loss. We need to assess the learning loss, and then we need to design plans that address that. And so the learning challenge fits very nicely into this. And this is something that we've been doing for a decade, but it fits very nicely because when you're assessing what is it that you've lost, we started doing those things. We started screening for mental health and social and emotional issues. We started screening for instructional loss and literacy and numeracy. And so we already have a good idea of where students are right now. So this challenge is, I don't know if you did that on purpose, that beat there, Dr. Sibley, but I'll take that as my cue. But we know for sure that this is a great opportunity to provide resources and support for students to close gaps and barriers that occurred over the summer. Dr. Sibley?
Thank you, Mr. Roller. Greatly appreciate your presence and what all you do when it comes to educating the children of this state. A couple of months ago, I think maybe even last December, if I'm not mistaken, I received an email from Miss Christine Thompson, and I got a chance to look at her information, and I got a chance to look at her background. She I'll let her tell you a little bit more about her title and what it means and what she's running for going forward. But what stuck out the most to me was the fact that she was so passionate about literacy, so passionate about culturally responsible literacy, and just how important reading is in general. We, of course, we know as a state we've been dealing with the Alabama Literacy Act and all the changes that have come of that. When I looked at her platform and I looked at the things that were important to Ms. Thompson, I thought to myself she would be an excellent brand ambassador for what we are trying to do here in the state of Alabama. And that has encouraged young people to believe that they can do anything, that they can achieve anything. But as a caveat to all of that, it starts with becoming a good and proficient reader. We know that reading is the cornerstone to all other learning, so that once you get the reading aspect down packed, the rest of it will come after that. So I wanted to invite Ms. Christine Thompson to tell us a little bit about who she is, her journey, and why literacy is so important to her. The floor is yours, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sibley, for that introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Christine Thompson. I'm the current USA National Miss Alabama. My platform and community impact is called Building Cultural Competency Through Literary Initiatives, which really seeks to provide children's books with culturally representative plots and characters to children so that they can start building cultural competency at a young age. I'm sure many of you know, according to the U.S. Department of Education, the number of books in the home correlates significantly with higher reading scores for children. So really increasing that accessibility, not only in schools, but in the home is so integral to their development. A little about me, I'm a junior at the University of Alabama. I'm studying political science and minoring in theater. My family immigrated to the United States from Haiti. So growing up, reading and literacy was the priority in my household. My mom always said, you know, I might have to struggle with English, but I'm going to make sure you don't have to. One of my favorite books that I've read to a couple of children's books, some Boys and Girls Club around the state of Alabama, is called Hair Love. It's illustrated by Vashti Harrison, authored by Matthew A. Cherry. It's a really great book for all ages, from different backgrounds. And I'm so excited to be partnering with the Alabama State Department of Education to promote this initiative. It's so important that we pay the debt that is owed to the children of the state. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you for being here, and you can see why she's made it to the heights that she's made it, and she makes an incredible brand ambassador. As we're telling people, you can achieve anything, and they can look at her as a real life example, an Alabama person who is achieving great heights and doing great things. So thank you so much for being a part of this initiative, Ms. Thompson. We want to bring in the CEO and co-founder of Metametrics and president, Dr. Malbert Smith. Dr. Smith, I'll defer to you to tell us a little bit about Metametrics and yourself and your partnership here in Alabama. The floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Sibley, and good morning, and thank you for letting us be a part of this initiative. And Christine, thank you for your platform and your passion. It's making a difference, and your leadership there. In fact, I'd love to yield my 5 minutes to you and listen to you more than listen to myself. You were terrific. Metametrics is a research organization. We're focused primarily on promoting literacy and personalized learning for literacy and math for all students. And we're excited to be working with you. I will piggyback on some of the comments that Tracy made, and Dr. Troller as well. And I love the analogy of the fifth quarter. It's all about time. And there's a body of research, which several of you have mentioned, it really goes back 100 years. And depending on which reading researcher you read, they either call it summer slide, summer fade, or summer loss. But it refers to this phenomenon that many of our children, all of those gains we make during the school year when they go home to text-free zones or no books or these opportunity gaps, they're not growing. And what we're trying to do with this initiative is to make sure that all students have access, regardless of zip code, to books, high-quality books, and that we feed their passions. And so, and I think it was Dr. Sibley, maybe it was Dr. Troller, talked about turning off the faucet. There's actually research, several researchers at Johns Hopkins now have argued that 2/3 of the achievement gap can be explained by 12 continuous summers where we turn off that faucet. And so Alabama is addressing that, and we're happy to be a part of it. Specifically, what we've done at Metametrics to be a part of this is we've created a free resource that sits on the Alabama Department's website called Find a Book. And parents, children, teachers can go on that website and find books that, A, they're interested in. One of the things we need to be careful about, and Tracy said this earlier, is we want to make learning fun. We want to make it engaging. So the first thing we should start with is finding out what a child is interested in. And on our website, you can plug in what you're interested in. And then we also have the ability to match you with books at your reading level. And there's over 250,000 books. And then we've connected it to the public library so that students and parents can access those books. So wherever you are, we hope that you will read over the summers. And parents have a huge role in this. They need to be talking to their children about what they're reading. They need to model the right behavior, which is reading a book as well, and talk about the books they're reading over the dinner table. The second thing we've done is we've built a math free resource for parents of children in grades 1 through 8 that will send you a daily email of activities that you can engage in with your child. And math is, many people have the math phobia, there's no such thing as a math gene. It's all about work and it's all about discipline, and we've tried to make engaging activities that you can incorporate into your home life, working with your children on math activities. And that's, again, first grade through 8th grade. So those are the two elements that we're working with, and we're happy to be a part of your program in this initiative.
Thank you so much, Dr. Smith. Greatly appreciate. I love that you said making learning fun, and it has to start there. And I am guilty of being one of those people who thought I did not have a math gene. So I understand now that it's not biological. It's all about work ethic. So we appreciate you and the resources that your company provides to the children of this state, and I'm sure all over the country. Next up, we have Dr. Shawn Mcalmon, who is the president of Career Learning Solutions of Stride, Inc. And I will let Dr. Mcalmon tell you all about that. Welcome, and thank you for being here, sir.
Thanks, Dr. Sibley. I'm really honored to be here. I appreciate all the words that have been shared so far and agree wholeheartedly. You know, the fifth quarter reference reminded me very quickly of my dissertation, which I did on NCAA athletes and those who attained career and academic success. And it all went back to early literacy, basic computational skills, and academic confidence. And so no matter where we are, what path we're taking in life, these skills are absolutely critical. I really appreciate the work that Alabama Department of Education is doing. I think this is critical. You know, we at Stride, we were formerly known as K-12, and we still use the designation of fuel education as well for some of the products that we deliver. But we've been around for about 20 years, and we actually started as a platform that allowed homeschooled students, school districts, individual schools, et cetera, to tap into resources to help parents and teachers succeed throughout the school year. That has developed into fully virtual and managed schools over time and other school district solutions. But this past year, we were challenged, I think as many have stated, in ways that we've never been challenged before. We added about 50,000 incremental students taking a full-time load virtually this year because of some of the issues around the country with parents and schools jumping into a virtual education. So our teachers, our supplemental resources, our platform was all pushed to the limit. I would say that we learned a lot of lessons, but primarily last summer. And we had a very specific task at hand in helping school districts and families around the country have a summer program that allowed students to engage while they spent a lot of time at home. And some of the things that we learned were very important because we think that it will actually reflect in long-term changes to the way students learn over the summer, et cetera. You know, as Ms. Thompson said, you know, it's access and it's understanding and it's motivation from parents, but we had to make it accessible. And so the online format really helped us do that. And we had literally thousands of students jumping onto the summer platform. We had clubs, camps, academic programs, competitions, learning how to code, you name it. We offered it during the summer and people came and took advantage of it in ways we didn't even anticipate. We had 24-hour access, multiple device access, and also help desk function for parents who were also new to jumping online and taking advantage of some of these resources. We provided tools that offered adaptability, gamification, et cetera, and I'll talk about a couple of those in a minute. We also had peer collaboration and competition, and then we had options that were really applicable to a lot of real life experiences and career development. So those were some of the lessons that we learned over the summer, and they actually sort of fall into some efforts that we'll have moving forward. But I wanted to mention specifically the two resources that we will provide to the residents of the state of Alabama free of charge this summer. First is the Stride Skills Arcade, which is really an amazing tool that is geared toward student engagement in basic and advanced skill development across multiple subject areas, and it uses gamification. It's a great graphical representation of learning. It's accessible, and it's really second to none in what it does. It offers immediate feedback to students and their families so they can see their progress. Secondly is Big Universe. It's a digital library that offers Alabama families access to over 20,000 book titles that are themed and leveled, and you know, again, free of charge, access 24/7. But actually, Alabama families had access to Big Universe last year, and we found that we had over 40,000 users from the state of Alabama access the Big Universe library, with 16,000 of them accessing via mobile devices, which we thought was very interesting as well. I mean, that is a critical component, I think, in helping young people stay engaged and learning. And they were on for wide ranges of time. The top 5 genres accessed by Alabama students were first, an interest in animals, birds, and insects. Secondly, some graphical novels, a lot of fairy tales, sports and recreation, and military. This is very interesting, and that ranges by state. And so it's great to look back and see what students were interested in and which had highest usage. These tools have benchmarking tests, reading pace, fluency, and other comprehension tools, so students and their parents and other guides can see how they're doing. And so we're very excited to provide these resources, and they'll both be available through the ALSDE website this summer. So again, we're honored to participate. Thank you so much for this moment in time, and I'll turn it back to you, Dr. Sibley.
Dr. Mcalmon, thank you so much for your presence and for everything that you bring to the table. You talked about wanting to tap into resources, and it sounds like Stride Inc. has not only provided a host of resources, but it appears that you've also learned some very valuable lessons over the last year that you're taking as opportunities to enhance services going forward. So that foresight and that ingenuity is greatly appreciated. I want to next have a representative from the Alabama Reading Initiative. One of my favorite reading people all the time, because I give her a hard time. She's my coworker and she's amazing. Miss Karen Rutledge Bell is on, and I want her to talk to us a little bit about ARI, the Alabama Reading Initiative, but I also want her to speak specifically about summer camp and some of the things that are going to happen and be available for students all across the state. I work here, and there are things that she told me about the other day that I was really unfamiliar with, to be completely honest, in terms of the scope of access and the scope of opportunities that are available for young people all across the state of Alabama. So if Ms. Karen Rutledge Bell would jump on and tell us a little bit about what's available this summer at summer camp.
In addition to all of the opportunities that we have on the website for the Summer Learning Challenge, the State Department of Education, of course, partners with the schools and the districts to provide summer literacy camps for our students in grades K through 3. And in order to do that, we've did a little bit of differentiation. We were given a budget, and our most vulnerable populations, they are receiving support from summer school, summer learning camp. And specifically, it talks about all of those things that are necessary for kids to catch up, because of all the things that you talked about as far as loss this year and over the past couple of years. Our students are being afforded the opportunity to have some summer learning opportunities in the schools, as well as access to all of these amazing Summer Learning Challenge free opportunities that we have on the website here. Another piece of that for this summer is the fact that on the website for the Summer Learning Challenge, we have gathered resources from all across the state about what is going on in the communities this summer. And we think that that is one of the most valuable pieces that there are, because in places where the parents may not be able to have access to the school building, they have access to community resources and community partnerships. So on the website, there are just a plethora of things, and we have put them in by school district, by counties and school systems. And you can go there, and I just want to highlight one or two of those to just kind of give you an idea about what's going on with those community activities. Across the whole state, Barnes and Noble, they are offering a summer learning program. And what they're doing is they want the kids to earn free books in grades 1 through 6. And I think that's an excellent opportunity for those parents that are able to get out there and take their kids to a bookstore to get some books. That would be a great opportunity there. In the Birmingham area, the public library, of course, and Birmingham even have a summer learning camp, a summer camp guide. And if parents want to go and look at that guide, it provides specific opportunities and resources for parents to be able to get to in their particular areas of Birmingham. One of the ones that really jumped out at me, Christine, you will appreciate this one. There's a Birmingham Children's Theater summer camp. So I know that kids would love an opportunity to do that. They also have an arts zone one that would be a great opportunity for kids to jump into. Up in North Alabama, in Florence, the Kilby Laboratory School. It is offering a summer STEAM camp this summer, along with a literacy learning academy. So if you're up in North Alabama in the Florence area, there's that opportunity. And now I want to jump over I want to go down to Mobile. Mobile has a City of Mobile community activities guide also. They're also partnering with the public library. I don't know if you guys know, but the public library this summer, their theme is Tales, Tails, and Tales. So Tales and Tales this summer across the state for public libraries. I think that that's an amazing resource to jump in there with parents, let them know about, especially with what Dr. Allen said about our children are really reading about animals and things like that. A great opportunity to learn more about what's going on with that. Montgomery has a summer learning opportunities also, and they have MPS Launch into Learning summer program. They also have the YMCA here. Also, the Montgomery Zoo has a summer camp that is going on for those animal lovers out there. So those are just a few of the ones that are out there. Tuscaloosa has a My Summer Learning one. If anywhere in the state there are resources that are available for summer learning opportunities, we really do want our parents to reach out, go out, and just visit the website and look at all of those amazing things that we have out there. Dr. Sibley, back to you.
You missed your calling as a news anchor. I see that now. Fantastic job. Thank you so much, Ms. Karen Rutledge Bell. I appreciate that. Now, I have a couple of questions that were submitted via email, but before I do that, I want to see if there are any media on the line who want to hop in and ask your questions of any of the people who we have on the screen right now. And I can't really see from my grid screen who's where, so I will leave the opportunity open for any media that's on.
So, Dr. Sibley, while you are sorting your media participation, let me just say that remember, starting today, Alabama parents will have access to even more online resources to advance their children's reading, math, and science skills. These resources are easy to access and will encourage our K-12 students throughout the summer. Do not forget, it starts today. I love Dr. Almont's presentation, because when you look at Big Universe, it creates opportunities for social development. And we know that during the pandemic, students missed being able to interact with other students and adults. So we're very excited about the Big Universe piece that's available and free. We encourage our parents to take a look. Dr. Sibley?
Okay, thanks so much. Let me leave an opportunity right now and see if there's anyone on who wants to ask a question either. I wanted to make sure we were okay there before I went into my submitted.
I have a question. This is Trish.
Yes.
Trish
Crane from AL.com. Hello, Trish.
Good morning. Good morning. And I apologize. I joined just a couple of minutes late. So if this was already explained, I apologize. How are parents going to find out about this? Is this the big effort? Are schools putting forth effort? Are all schools participating? What can you tell me about outreach to parents?
Okay. Either of you, Karen Rutledge Bell, you want to grab that one?
Tricia, the information is available on our webpage, number one, and we're hoping that people like you in the media are going to blast it out also, because we know that the media has a great influence on this. Also, it'll be posted on our Facebook page as well as our Instagram account and also our Twitter account.
And in addition to that, Trish, we are strongly pushing our public information officers at schools throughout the state. They have all the resources that we put forward here, and we're encouraging them strongly to talk to people about participating. It's, anyone who, I have two little ones, and around April of every year, you get antsy about what you're going to do in the summertime, and every parent has that issue. So we're really hoping that, like Ms. Bell said, that the media will put it out there. We will do our best to put it out there as a department and through our individual liaisons as public information officers throughout the state. But it's going to have to be word of mouth as much as anything else, and we're really hoping that people will put the word out there so they can. It would be a shame to have all of these really rich opportunities available and not and the children who need to experience them most not do so, not because they don't want to or don't see a need for it, but because they were unaware. So awareness is key. We're going to try to make sure we can do what we do, and this is part of that effort to push that out there.
And Dr. Roller, I'll add that Alabama Family Central, the Alabama website for families in Alabama, is highlighting it. And also the Alabama Reading Initiative is very lucky to have regional specialists that actually touch each LEA in the state. And so we'll ensure that they take that message with them when they're visiting those LEAs so that those families can learn about it. That'll help with the word of mouth.
I'm sorry, Dr. Strichick. As a quick follow-up, the only qualification is that you're a parent of a child and a family. I mean, you have to have an internet connection, right? Does it have to be high speed? Is there anything more that, like, is it just, it's free for everyone?
Well, we have, my understanding is, yeah, the Metametrics and Stride online opportunities are free for everyone.
Yes.
And it's free K through 12. And they're countless, probably, I'm sure more than they could experience in a summer's time, activities and books that they can access. Also, for those people who if, hopefully there's a big push in terms of broadband access, given what we've been through over the last year. But there's, in addition to the online resources, Trish, we have on our website a list of all of the actual physical camps and activities that are available throughout the entire state. And that list is constantly being updated, but it's pretty exhaustive now of actual camps that people can take their children to, many of which are free and or are offered by the school. A lot of the schools that are K3, I believe, and someone from Reading Initiative, correct me if I'm wrong, many of these schools have, again, the summer camp activity, which is free as well and provides resources almost all summer long.
Correct.
Okay, one more question, detailed question, because people are going to know, how do I get this? Is there, and I'm sorry I don't have the news release pulled up in front of me, but is there do you have to have sign-on? Do you have to get that from your school or anything?
Would one of our either Stride or Metametrics folks want to talk about the ease of access to your material?
Yeah, I can take that. So my name is Bill Hoyer. I'm with Stride. So with Stride Skills Arcade and with Big Universe, there's a link on the department website and on the Summer Learning Challenge website. It's just first name, last name, and then you create a username and password and your email address, and then it automatically creates your account. You can sign right in. The whole process for sign-in is probably under a minute for both Big Universe and Stride Skills Arcade. So as long as you just find that link on the department website or on the Summer Learning Challenge website, you can sign right up instantly.
Thank you.
So the same is true for Metametrics as well, just the link on your website.
I had a submitted question that someone asked and said a lot of schools had to a lot of students and parents had to get Chromebooks for their students over this past school year. Will the resources that are available here be accessible through their Chromebooks?
Yes, absolutely. For Stride Skills Arcade and Big Universe, any internet access device, mobile devices, you can access both programs.
Right. And Dr. Mcalmon mentioned that a large percentage of the people who accessed their thing before, their services before, did so on mobile devices. So my assumption is that it's true of both Metametrics and Stride information. And the other question I had was the one that Trish already posed. Where can parents find out about this primarily? Because it seems simple to most people to go on and log on, but that can be a little sophisticated if you're not a tech savvy person, and it can be a little bit intimidating as well. Although these children, by the time they're 7 or 8, they could probably show us how to do it if they're anything like mine at home. But it is not always an easy thing to access. If someone has any kind of technical difficulty, is there an option for them to do it? What do they do if they can't log on or if they have a problem doing that?
There are on the website, there are customer service numbers that they can call. I'm sorry, I cut across you. I apologize, Shawn.
No, you're fine. Bill, you're about to say something?
No, I was going to say the exact same thing. So our customer service numbers are listed right on there. There's chat support as well. So just give us a call or shoot us a chat if you have any trouble. But we made it as simple as possible, and I think it'll be easy. But yeah, just let us know if you have any trouble.
Same with Metametrics.
Can I ask one follow-up? Because you know I'm always going to ask about funding, Dr. Sibley.
Ask away. Ask away, Trish.
Do we have federal COVID recovery money to thank for helping these programs get to our families? Is this
Absolutely. I was having a conversation, and there are people on this call who are way smarter than I, and they can, Karen Rutledge Bell is one of them, and she can tell you all kinds of details. But we have, this summer alone, about 18 million is being invested in summertime opportunities for students to learn. That comes largely from federal monies. If I'm saying something that's incorrect, somebody correct me on that. Subject matter expert, jump right in. But about 18 million just in the summer months that are being spent on all kinds of resources, not to mention the fact that there are additional federal resources for children who find themselves in homeless situations, and just for students who are identified as those who are in the bottom 5%, get additional everything from intensive daily instruction to books to take home. And Karen Rutledge Bell, what more you were telling me about that? Give me some more that we're doing in terms of funding, federal funding for this effort.
Actually, the monies that you're talking about, Dr. Sibley, were our funds that was appropriated by our legislature here in Alabama for the 18 million. Those funds have gone out to the schools to pay for the summer reading camps for grades K through 3. Those book bags that we've been dealing, also we've added. Christine, you will love this. Each one of our kids that attends a summer school at one of our lowest, with our lowest elementary schools, they're going to receive a bag of books to take home from summer camp this summer. And those funds were also sent to us so that we could be able to provide that. So we're trying to really get it out there in the schools, outside the schools, in the communities, any way that we can to ensure that kids have access to literature, to literacy, to math, to science, to all of those things that make learning amazingly wonderful and the payoff that comes with that.
Dr. Sibley,
Thank you so much. Yes, please.
Tricia, good morning. Terry Roller. I wanted to just let you know that I was part of the co-design team. Many of us here at the State Department worked on the recovery plan for our student learning loss. Dr. Davis, her team, fantastic people here at the State Department working to support school districts as they are developing and designing the ways to support the students, not only right now, but over the summer for the fifth quarter, mini learning blast, before school, during school, after school, all kinds of pieces of the puzzle being put together right now. And that's part of that $2 billion ESSER that's coming to Alabama. So all of those things have been discussed. We did office hours to work with the school districts to help them craft and design their plans. And this fits very nicely right in the middle. It fits nicely for school districts that may or may not have had, a sufficient enough amount of support from the ESSER. But it also fits nicely for those whose parents say, we love what you're doing at the school, but we're going to take our show on the road too. So whether you're traveling abroad or moving around the state, you can still do your part as a parent, which is what we love, where you can plug in, grab these resources, and create your own learning plan at home, where you're having students touch pieces of the programs, whether it's something with Big Universe or it doesn't matter. You can, as a parent, can go through and find sort of your buffet of what you like or what you think might interest your child and create your own plan if you're not part of an organized summer piece that's going on in your local community school. Dr. Sibley?
Can I add? I was going to add, Dr. Sibley, that the 18.5 was appropriated from our Alabama legislature, and the bottom 5%, according to the Literacy Act, are fully funded. However, our other schools that are limited support 1 and 2 are funded per pupil that is identified as not proficient. So many, probably almost all LEAs that have limited support 1 and 2 are supplementing those budgets with federal funds, some of the ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds that are coming out, because they're wanting to provide the summer camp to those students that are not identified as bottom 5% or as not proficient. They want to offer it to a socioeconomically diverse population. So they are being subsidized. Those state funds are being subsidized in many cases with federal funds.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stritcher. Any other questions? Any other burning questions that anyone has out there? I'm jumping around. If not, we are going to do a couple of things. We're going to take the content that we've been able to pull together here today and make it available on our website if anyone wants to see it. Use it for instruction purposes for the releases and things that we put out. A lot of the facts and comments that were made will be taken and used as graphics and clips. Mr. Charles Creel, who, in addition to being our WebEx master today and dealing to the administrative side of this event, is also our graphic artist. We are fortunate enough to have Ms. Christine Thompson, who has agreed to serve as our brand ambassador, and we are putting images of her and her lovely crown and sash and her success in general in front of the eyes of young people, so they have a North Star to look at. They have someone that they can look at and say, my goal is to be like her in so many ways, regardless of whether their goal is to be in any kind of pageantry, just to be brilliant, just to be sharp, just to be educated, just to be a college student that's knocking it out the box. She provides so much character ammunition that she can shoot at our young people, and hopefully they'll learn from that and find inspiration in her. So thank you, Ms. Thompson, for being on board. Are there anyone else? Is there anyone else? Are there any other questions that are burning before we jump off? We've been on about 45 minutes, and I expected it to last about 40 minutes or so. Everyone who came out, opportunity for last comments. Anyone?
Remember, it starts today. You have access. Big Universe by Stride, Stride Skills Arcade, tons of great stuff. It starts today.
Okay. If there are no other comments, I'm going to jump off and we thank you guys. Well, I seemed like I was cutting someone off. Anyone? Okay. Well, being none, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. I appreciate media that showed up, and you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming out.